Hello everybody, today we are going to see the SAP installation, and here you'll going to see what are the prerequisites needed and post installation activities and how are we going to install SAP. So before we proceed with the installation, there are some prerequisites which needs to be fulfilled. So the first and most important thing is that hardware sizing. So since we are installing SAP NetWeaver 7.03 SP04 patch level, so we need at least RAM 4 GB of RAM we need at least, and hard disk we need like around 300 of GB hard disk. And if you have minimum core 2 or core i3, core i5, core i7 processor, then it will be good, so that the installation will be done very quickly. So these are the main important area of hardware sizing which we need. So this is just hardware sizing of what we exactly need before installing SAP. Apart from hardware sizing, there are some other prerequisites which needs. They are: the first is we need to have a software. So where we need to get software? Here we can get the software from SAP. So we need to download software. I will show you how you are going to download the software from Google. Now once you download the software, the second thing is that you need to get SAP GUI, which is a graphical user interface, which is our presentation server, which we will usually connect to the application server. Okay, so we need SAP GUI to be downloaded. Third, once we get this software downloaded, we need to change the host name, nothing but your computer name. You need to change the computer name. Fourth, you need to increase the swap memory. Fifth thing, you need to install loopback adapter. Why I am telling loopback adapter means, if you are installing on your local PC, we need to have a IP address, standalone IP address, not to internet. We need a standalone IP address. So you need to assign the IP address once you install the loopback adapter. Okay, and then once you assign the IP address, you need to install MaxDB database. Okay, then you need to install Java. Then you need to set up the environmental variables for Java. once you install the Java, then you need to set up the environmental variables for Java. These all steps are I'm going to show you practically. So then once you set up the environmental variables, then you need to restart the PC once for the settings to change effect. Then you will be going with SAP installation, which usually we use the tool SAP INST for installing SAP. So these are the steps you need to perform before installing SAP. So after that, I will be going to show you the post installation steps. What are the post installation steps need after the SAP installation? Okay, so I hope you have understood. Like now, how to download the software, the first point. So if you go to Google and see, if you type here download SAP NetWeaver ABAP 7.03 SP04 64-bit trial version. This is the trial version which you will get at least 3 months of access from SAP. So if you, why I'm telling 7.03 64-bit trial version, I'm like, this will you can install on your Windows 7. If you have Windows 8, okay, you can install on this machine, and if you have Windows 2003, it will install on Windows 2003, Windows 2008. Okay, so once you click on trial version, you need to fill up your information about the first name, last name, the company, email address, phone, respective, what are those. You have to first fill up those things, then you need to check both, and then you have to submit. Once you submit, the SAP will send you an email like this with the link. They will tell you to click here, which will go to the site where you can download the software, and this link is valid only for 48 hours. So once you receive the email, you will get the email immediately once you submit your information. Okay, so once you download that software, then you need to proceed with the further steps, like SAP GUI. You need to download from the Google. You can get SAP GUI. Okay, so once you get the software downloaded, then we need to proceed with the changing the computer name. So first we will see in our next section how to change the computer name and how we are going to increase the swap memory. What is the virtual memory, we are going to see in our next session. Okay, bye.
Practical, like how we are going to set up the host name and set up virtual memory, and we're also going to see like how we are going to install loopback adapter and to assign IP address. These are the basic prerequisites which we need before installing SAP. So host name is nothing but it's a computer name which you need to define, otherwise SAP will not allow to proceed with the installation. So, and also the host name, when you are defining the characters, I mean, like it should not be more than 13 characters. So I was explaining yesterday, like these are the prerequisites. Like you need to download the software, then you need to download the SAP GUI, then you have to change the host name, right, computer name. So we will see how we are going to change the computer name. So go to Start, right click on My Computer, Properties, then you need to go to Advanced System Settings. Here if you see on the first tab is the computer name, click on that, and here you need to change, like already it's defined Zenith ECC, which is lesser than 13 characters. Okay, so minimum it should be 5 and it should be lesser than 13 characters. So let us give like basic ECC and click on change, and similarly you have to give here basis ECC. So once you given, you need to say OK. Once you say OK, it will restart your computer. So once it restart, then the second thing is you need to set up the virtual memory. So virtual memory is nothing but it is a feature of an operating system that enables a process to use a RAM address space that is independent of other processes running in the same system and use a space that is larger than the actual amount of RAM present. If you see, if you right click on taskbar and go to Start Task Manager, and if you go see, these are the processes, right? So these are the processes, and this is what it's occupying this much of memory for each processes, right? So if you see the maximum, like how it's occupying for each and every processes. So this is very, very important for SAP installation because it needs a lot of RAM. So if you have 4 gig of RAM or 8 gig of RAM, then how much virtual memory you need to set up? So that is very important here. So as I said, like virtual memory usually combines your computer RAMs with temporary space on your hard disk. When RAM runs low, your virtual memory moves data from RAM to a space called a paging file. If you see, this is a page file. Moving data to and from the paging file frees up RAM so your computer can complete its work. So the more RAM your computer has, the faster your programs will generally run. If the lack of RAM is slowing your computer, you might be tempted to increase virtual memory to compensate. So now I will show you how to increase the virtual memory. So this is very simple step. You need to go to Start. You will go to same My Computer Properties, right? And then you'll go to Advanced System Settings. Then here you have seen the first one is Performance, where you can change the settings of your virtual memory. So once you click on that settings, you will be getting a pop-up window, Performance Options, which you need to select Advanced tab. Under the Advanced tab, you know, this is a background services. You need to select this and select the change option. So previously it was set to automatically, but I have unchecked that automatically, and you need to do the same thing, and you need to custom the size. So minimum SAP recommended to keep to 20,000. So you can keep at least that much to make the SAP installation, you know, in a very smooth manner. So I have set that to 20,500. Then say OK. So say OK. Okay. So this is what you have set up the virtual memory. So this is very simple step. So you have seen like how I have changed the computer name. Then you have to restart the system, and then secondly I have did how to set up the virtual memory, which is your RAM. If you have, so I said like you need to have minimum 4 gig of RAM. If you have lesser than that, then it's very difficult to install SAP, and it can throw a lot of error, okay, due to RAM. Now the next thing we are going to see how we are going to install loopback adapter. Basically, when I'm talking about loopback adapter, I'm talking only for the standalone PC, right? For you need to practice, you need to do a lot of whatever I'm teaching here, then you have to do the practical kind of things, right? So you don't need to purchase from outside by paying the money, but you can install on your machine itself by downloading the free trial version, which you will get at least for 3 months access. So loopback adapter is basically we need only for standalone system. In a company, you don't need loopback adapter. So and then you have to assign the IP address. So what will happen when SAP's installation start running? It will first go and check the IP address. Okay, what IP address you are assigning. Then it will go and start the program GUI. Then it connects to database, and then your SAP installation start. You can proceed with the installation. So let us see how we are going to install loopback adapter. Now go to control panel. Okay, you can either go with control panel or you can go either with my computer. Since I'm showing with my computer, so it will be easy for everybody to go only the single one. So my computer, right click, and I'm going to here now manage, right? So before I was going to properties for setting up my host name and virtual memory. Now I'm going to manage. Once you click on manage, it will, you can see here, this is device manager. So we click on device manager, you see the by default whatever the system information you have, like everything. Here you just select the computer, anything here, and then you need to select the action and add legacy hardware. So once you click on legacy hardware, it will say whether you are going to install an external driver or what. So yeah, we are installing loopback adapter. So you need to just select next, and then here you need to you are going to install the hardware manually because we are not connected any other hardware. We are not installing a printer or something which we need to select that option, but we need to select the second option, which is install the hardware that I manually select from a list. Okay, and say next. Here you need to, it will show all the devices. Okay, but since we are concerned about the network adapters, which is loopback adapter, so we have to select the network adapter here and then select next. Okay, so what it will do, it will go and search for all the devices related to network adapters, and it will, which are the manufacturing company. So we need to select Microsoft because Microsoft is only giving that loopback adapter. Okay, so you need to select on the right hand side Microsoft loopback adapter. First you need to select Microsoft, then it will show all the adapter related to Microsoft. Select the Microsoft loopback adapter and then say next. Now what is trying to do, he is trying to install your new hardware. So just click next and it will install your loopback adapter on your system. So this is very, very important before installing SAP. Now say finish. Okay, so you want to see where is my loopback adapter installed. So you have to go to control panel. Under control panel you can see network sharing center, network and sharing center. You click on that and click on change adapter settings, and here if you see, you can see loopback adapter. So I already installed previously, so I just for showing you up, I have installed once again. So right click on loopback adapter and click enable. Okay, so once you click on enable, then you can proceed with the installation. So now you have to assign the IP address. So this is what you have did the installation, right? So but you have to install, you have to assign the IP address. So if you right click on that and click on the properties, here you need to go to IPv4 and select properties. Now here already I have defined the IP address. So you also need to define the same thing, like 192.168.1. You can give any IP address. I mean, like not only 1.1 or something like you can give anything like 10.10 or whatever IP address you want to give, you can give anything. It's not necessary that you have to give this one. So just for our sake, I have given that 1.1. Now you can give this, and no need to give any DNS server, okay, since we are installing on single PC. So okay, so once you click on OK, it will assign the IP address for that duplicate character. So this is how you are going to assign the IP. Last session we have seen like what are the prerequisites needed before installing SAP. So today we are going to see the installation of SAP. So before proceeding with the installation, you need to know where you have copied that software in which folder. Okay, so you need to go to that respective folder, and then you need to select the installation master, which is the folder. You need to double click on that, and you need to double click on data units. Then you need to go into this folder, Windows x86 64. Under this folder you have seen so many things, but as I told, there is a tool which SAP installation will run with SAP INST. So SAP INST is the tool which install your SAP system. So just double click on SAP INST, click on yes. So it will take you through the SAP installation process, where it will go through all the phases, and so almost it has like more than 20 phases. So it will take around 6 to 8 hours or maximum 10 hours depending on your hardware, like how much RAM, how much processor you have, like it all depends on your hardware. Okay, say allow access here. Sometimes firewall blocks, so you need to say allow access. So once you click on that, you will be getting a new pop-up window. Now here you can see that the computer name which we have kept, right? So Zenith ECC, like when I was showing, I showed ECC, right? So I haven't changed, but for your understanding I have shown you. Okay, but keep in mind that that computer name should be lesser than 13 characters. Okay, so now here you go to the first SAP application server ABAP. Okay, if you go one drop down, you'll see a MaxDB database. As I told, SAP installed on the database. If you have the database installed, then only we can install the SAP. Otherwise, SAP won't install. Okay, it will look for the database. So if you go one more down, it shows central system. Under the central system, you will see the central system icon. So in our next session, like you will be going to more in like what is instance, what is central. So I don't want to make it give it here that concept, but here just we are going with the SAP installation. Okay, now see it next. Now it will ask for the password. Basically, once the SAP is installed, the SAP creates two default users by name SAP star and DDIC. So if you see, there are two users which SAP creates after the installation, which we are SAP star and DDIC. So you have to give the password here and note it down somewhere or write it, because if you forget this password, then your whole time, whatever you have applied installing SAP, will go vanish. So this is very important. So I'm just giving the password like Zenith123. Okay, so I'm just noting down and I will save it there. So here is asking the agreement, so you need to go and accept and then say next. This is the end user license agreement, because SAP is giving this software for you free of cost, okay, for 3 months. So you need to accept that agreement, and then you need to proceed. Now see, if you see on the bottom what is going on, it's extracting Java. So that means it needs Java, okay, it needs database, so, and it's also for the environmental variables. So all these things it will look. If something is missing, then what will happen? It will throw an error saying that you do not have the Java installed, you do not have the database. So this kind of issues might arise if you didn't did the prerequisites. So that's why I have already explained those things. So now here is asking the password. So as I said, like I'm giving Zenith 123 and same password here, Zenith 123, and say next. So once you click on next, it will go. These are the 5 phases of this delivery tool, and we are in the second phase of define parameters. Okay, choose option, we have already selected that central system, and it moved to the define parameters, where we have to define the parameters like, are you going to install ABAP, are you going to install Java, both, central instance. So these are the parameters. What is, there's a concept called SID, which is nothing but your system identification, which I explained in the system landscape topic. So SID contains only 3 characters like def, or it could be QS quality, or it could be PRV production. So remember that SID only contains 3 characters, and which we need to give. Okay, and instance number starts with 00 and ends up to 99. So these are the parameters which will ask during the installation, and you need to define those things. Okay, so this is just to show you. Okay, now what is asking? He's asking the operating system user. So this password is nothing but when you log into your PC, maybe you have created your own user, okay, with a password. When you log into your PC, that password you have to enter here. So once you enter the password, it will proceed. Okay, so make sure you're giving the right password. So it's checking the names for well-known groups. Okay, now here it will ask your system does not meet some prerequisite, because I am installing in Windows 7. Okay, you could be installing on Windows 7 or Windows 8, but here it's asking that you need to install in Windows 2003. So no need to worry about that, since I already installed so many times. Okay, it installed successfully. You just hit no, okay, and it will proceed further. So it check all the values, it will check the database instance, and so by default, since this is a predefined software, so it takes its predefined, like it will take the like SID, it will take like NSP, because this is a predefined software, and the instance it will take by default 00. So in a company, you have a real software, and like you have to assign and you have to define which SID you are giving, what instance number you are giving, okay, whether it is central instance or not. Okay, so these are the very important things, like you have to remember, and you have to know about that. So see here, as I said, like these are the final step summary, and then you have to see heck it execute. Okay, so here we have given I accept. Okay, then I told that SID by default is taking NSP. Okay, since this is a parallel software and it's installing on your C drive, and you have given a master password. It's a local installation, since we are doing in the standalone PC, or if you have any domain, you can change it by clicking on it. Okay, so you have given the OS password as what you log into the system. You have the database, okay, and already installed. And so these are some okay prerequisites. So CPU is using, like, I have like core 2, so it's using the 2 CPUs of mine, and it's using this kind of input output buffer cache. Okay, number of sessions 100. So these are general parameters for before it proceed the installations. So if you see the central instance here is 00. Okay, so in the company, if you want, you can define any of the instance number as per the requirement. Okay, and host name is nothing but your computer name, as said, like Zenith ECC, and these are all the unpack archives which it will collect from your software, and it will extract those exports. Okay, so here I hope you understand this concept of installation, like how I proceeded with it. Okay, so you no need to check any box here. Okay, just say next and it will proceed with your instruction. So there are almost 23 phases, and it will take 6 or 8 hours, as I said, depending on your environment. So I hope you have understood like how to install SAP. So you try, definitely you can able to install SAP successfully. So in our next session, we will be going to see what are the post installation activities required after the SAP installation. So you will also see, once it's done successfully, you will get the message like this. If you see here, it's all the phases have been completed successfully. Execution of service SAP. Okay, so this kind of message you will get once you install successfully. Okay, so thank you so much for attending my session. Bye. Everybody, so as we have seen in our last session that we have installed SAP, and we also seen the prerequisite before installing SAP. So today we are going to see the post installation activities. So in the post installation activities, the first and most important thing is SAP GUI. SAP GUI is nothing but it's a graphical user interface. So I already explained before that SAP runs on 3 layers, which is presentation, application, and database layer. So as we have seen that we installed database MaxDB, so that is our database server. And you also seen SAP installation, which is, you have seen the application instance, right, which is our application layer. And so the third layer is presentation layer, which is GUI. So you are going to see the installation of GUI, and once you install the GUI, you can able to connect to the SAP server. Okay, so let's go and install SAP GUI. So how to install GUI? You need to have SAP GUI software, okay, which you can get it from service marketplace or any other website. So once you install SAP, you will see an SAP management console on your desktop. Okay, and make sure that up and running. It should be great. Okay, and so I will also explain like how to start and stop the SAP system. Okay, now without SAP GUI, I cannot able to connect to SAP, right? So I have to install SAP GUI. So now here, as I told that the SAP GUI version 7.20, it depends upon what kind of installation you are installing, right? So for example, say we have lot of SAP version 4.7, ECC 6.0, NetWeaver 7.1, 7.2, and so, right? So but SAP GUI also support the version. You cannot, like, if you're installing an older version like 4.7 and you're trying to log in with 7.2 SAP GUI, it won't connect. So it supports only that GUI version which it supports to that 4.7 or ECC 6.0 or NetWeaver 7.1. So now since we have NetWeaver 7.03, so it supports 7.20 GUI. So to install GUI, double click on this and open. So what it will do, it will extract the components from its installation. Since this GUI will support all the other components of NetWeaver, like there are components like DI, EP, which is Enterprise Portal, MI, and other components. So with this front end, you can connect to any system, SCM, SRM, CRM, any system you can connect. Okay, so this is very simple installation. So we call it as a front end installation. Okay, so once it's installed, then you need to configure the SAP logon. You already seen in my previous session like how we configure SAP logon. Like you need to have your IP address, host name, and instance number and SID. So say next year and click on SAP GUI for Windows and select next. It will proceed with the installation. So this is how you have to install the same way what I am installing SAP GUI. And in the company also, you will be provided with the software, or you can download it from the service marketplace if you get the credential for OSS. Okay, so you will get when you join a company, SAP company or any other company, they will provide the SAP credentials, OSS service marketplace, where you can go and download the softwares. So this GUI is installing in your C program files in the directory SAP. Okay, so once that this GUI is installed successfully, you will find an icon on the desktop, SAP logon. Okay, that is where you need to go. See, now you have seen that SAP logon, right? So SAP front end installed successfully. Close that one and double click on SAP logon. When you double click on that, now the first thing is that you won't find any system, first of all, right? So in the company, you need to create the systems. Now since here is one system which is already I have given previously, I will delete it and I will create one more time so that you should know when you start doing configuration. Okay, so see, there is no system here now. Okay, so I remove that whatever the predefined system which I have assigned before. Now to create configuration, you have to click on new, say next, and here you have to specify, like I'm saying, this is my development server, okay, or development system. Okay, so I will mention like DEV or NSP, since we are assigned is NSP, and you can provide either your IP address or your host name. So like application server is nothing but you can either define your host name, that means your computer name, or you can define the IP address. Okay, and instance number, already we see while doing the installation the instance number was 00. Whatever system ID, it is NSP. Okay, so these three informations are very important. Okay, so once you properly enter, then you need to say next, and here you no need to do anything. I mean, like, don't select anything here, just say next. Now here the language should be English. Okay, and click on finish. So now the system you can see in your SAP logon pack. So once you double click on this SAP logon pad for that particular system, it will go and connect to your SAP system. So this is how you are to do this post installation activity once you are done with your SAP installation. I hope you understood this post installation activity. In our next session, you are going to see more about what are the other things you have to install for the post installation. Thank you so much. Hello everybody. So as you have seen in my last session, like we have did SAP GUI installation. So today we are going to see some other post installation activities. So after the GUI installation, the first important installation is you have to check whether your installation was done successfully or not. Okay, so how you are going to see this one? So first you need to log into, okay, now you have logged into DDFE, and the password is nothing but the password which you have given during the installation. The first step it asks, right, the password. That password you need to provide here, okay? And so you are now in SAP, okay? So now you have to check whether your SAP installation was done successfully or not. It will show the message, but even though for your convenience, like if you want to see, then you can, SICK is the transaction code where you can see whether the installation was done successfully or not. Just hit enter and it will take you to the screen saying that SAP system check and there are no errors reported. So basically there are two transaction code which usually shows you whether your installation was done successfully or not. So this is one, and one more is, if you go /n, it will take you to the main screen. SM28 is one more transaction code. The same thing what we did just now with SICK. So this is first important post installation activities that you need to check. What are the transaction code you are using? You are using SICK and you are using SM28. The second thing is that you need to create the users. Okay, you have to create the user or copy DDIC. Why I am telling this one of the post installation important activities means when you, so DDIC is only and SAP starts the user. Okay, for example, if you forget that password going forward, or if you wrongly hit 3 times, you know what happened? Your SAP user will be locked and you need to again uninstall and you need to again install the SAP. So there are so many problems. So to avoid this kind of situations, you need to create a copy of that user. How are you going to create a copy of that user? So there is a transaction code SU01, okay, which will be going to learn in our user administration topic, okay. So just we need to create a copy of the user of DDIC. So just SU01 is enter. It will take you to the SU01 screen. Here you need to copy that user. So how you are going to copy which user? Or say we will create one dummy user, okay, a test user, okay. We will create one test user so that if you forget DDIC user, we can log in with the test user. Okay. So right, give the username and there is an icon which is say copy. Click on that copy and it says like from which user to user you want to copy. So from what you will give here, DDIC. So from DDIC you are copying to the new user which is your test user. So it will copy all those parts, okay, and say copy. So these are the things I'm going to show in our user administration topic, okay. Not here. So here you have to give the password, okay. So I will give the password as password only, and I will just say, okay. So once you click on save, that means your user test has been created, okay. So this is how we have created a user of DDIC. Now this is the second post installation activity, okay. And third, we have to import profile parameters. How are you going to import profile parameters using RZ10 transaction? So this we have used the transaction S01 and importing profile parameters. Because when you install the SAP, your profile parameters will be stored at the OS level, right? But you have to import those parameters into SAP parental level. How are you going to import those profile parameters? You have to go to RZ10 transaction and hit enter, and then here you have to go to utilities. If you see there is a utilities icon, utilities, and import profiles. Import profiles of active servers. Once you click on that one, what it will do, it will pull all the parameters from your OS level and it will import into your front-end SAP server. Now if you go back and see extend maintenance, click on extend maintenance and select here your instance profile. So this profile chapter is again your one more new topic. Okay, so there are sessions which I'm going to cover all those things. Okay, so since these are the post installation activities, I'm not going in depth of those things. Just these are the installation that you have. Once the installation is done, you have to do this. And if you see display, it will show all your parameters which SAP has created during the installation. So you can see how many dialogues, how many background and enqueue and the update process are there. Okay, so I hope you are clear with this profile parameters post installation activity. Now another important thing, you need to install the license. So since here you have predefined software, so you got the license of 3 months, but in a real time when you go to the company, how are you going to install the license? Okay, so you have to go with the transaction code S license. So if you go back and S license, okay, so here you can see your validity is up to 3 months. So here this is very important. I mean, like the installation, how you are getting that file. You will be getting that file from the SAP Service Marketplace. So from the Service Marketplace, you will get that SAP. SAP will send the file to you, and you have to copy that file and you have to install here. So how to do that SAP S license, I will show you in your next in a separate session. Okay, so this is just a post installation activities. That's why this is very important that you need to know about the post installation activities. Okay, so now once this is done, the next thing is that you need to run the SGen. What is SGen? SGen is nothing but it loads all the objects. I mean, like initially after the installation, when you will go and start any transaction, it will take a time. I mean, like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, depend on your hardware. But once you run the SGen, what it will do, it will immediately log in. Once you enter the transaction, it will enter within a second. Okay, so this is why we run the SGen. So the concept of SGen is, let me go /n, go to the main screen, and I'm going to SGen. So once you click on enter, so it's taking some time because going first time it will take a minute. Okay, so here you have to check generate all objects of selected software components, and then you have to continue. Okay, so you can see here by default there are some software components. Okay, so you select all those software components and say continue. Once you hit continue, it will take like about 4 or 5 hours to complete those activities. So if you continue this one, so it will take around 4 to 5 hours to complete those activities. So that's why I'm not going to do now, but you have in a company, you have to do this activity. Okay, when you are doing the post installation activities. So this is one of the post installation activities, SGen. And transport management system. Transport management system is one of the topic which I will be going to cover in our course, and the transaction code is HTML. when I'm talking about transport management system, it comes that, let me go back to /n, because I said like in a company when you go you will find many systems, 3 systems or more than that, right? So now we have development, quality and production system, but development is where you will be doing the customization. So you have to include other systems into this development systems, because how you are going to transport, right? All the customization is going under this development system. So once the customization is done, you have to export this transport to the quality, right? So how are you going to do that? So you have to create a domain controller. Then you have to create a domain controller. For that you have to go to transaction HTML. If you hit enter, it will take you to the domain controller. It will ask whether you want to make a domain controller for this system. You have to say yes, because development system is where you will be creating a domain controller, and other systems you need to include in the domain controller. So this is one of the important activity for the post installation activity. So since we are logging first time, so see how much time it's taking. So if you run the SGN, it will go very quickly. It won't take that much of time. And when it runs, I will. So this is you have to create a domain controller. This is one of the activity, and I said like you have to create the users, you have to import profile parameters, and you have to install the license. Okay, SGN transport, and last thing is the backup. So this is very important. Backup is like once your SAP is done successfully, you have to take the backup. For example, once the activity has been started, everybody is working, or due to some reason like power failure or something, it happens, then you have to restore. So for that, we need to have the backup of a fresh installation. So once you did installation, then you need to have a backup in case if anything happens. What happened? Like you can restore the previous version, previous backup. So this is very, very important. So I hope you understood the post installation activities, like whatever I showed here, and you have to do after the installation. Okay. So as you see here, it says like you are logging to domain controller. It automatically took the domain underscore NSP. But in company, you have, if it's not there, then you have to write domain underscore. If your SID is DEV, you have to mention DEV. If your SID is QoS, you have to mention QoS. Okay. So once you are logging to domain controller, you have to add other systems. So how are you going to those things? You will be learning in the transport management system, which is a separate session. So thank you so much for attending this session. So I hope you understood the post installation activities. So thank you so much. In our next session, we will be going to learn more about the work processes. Okay. Bye. Hello everybody. So we will see how to start and stop the SAP system, and what are the things to be keep in mind, and what are the tasks need to be done before stopping the SAP system. Okay. So on a day-to-day basis, most of the time as a SAP basis administrator will be taken up with general system administration. So the system must be configured in a way that ensures stable operation with the available resource and avoid system downtime. So as administrator, you are the person who also required to eliminate errors that can occur during operation, right? When you're starting, if the SAP is not starting up, then you need to eliminate, you need to figure it out what is causing the error. So you have to investigate these errors. You have to determine the cause, and you have to find an appropriate solution for that. In addition, there are critical situations will regularly occur that do not originate in the SAP system directly, but are instead caused by a problem at the database or at OS level. So in that case, you are expected to quickly and accurately assess the system status and use the information obtained to make the right decision, okay, concerning to the right departments. Now, we will see how we are going to start the SAP server and how we are going to stop the SAP server. So here already our SAP server is started. So we will stop the SAP system first. So there are some important points you need to remember before stopping the SAP system. Not only this, but the thing is that there are several other reasons why you may need to stop or restart the SAP system. It could be an unplanned hardware or software failure due to which you are stopping the SAP system, okay, and there could be a planned activity which needs you to stop the SAP server, okay. If you are setting any parameters in the RG10 profile, you need to restart the SAP server, right? So these are some basic things which required for stopping the SAP server and starting the SAP server. Now, before you prepare to stop a SAP system, you need to coordinate with all the departments which are affected with. Okay, if a group of users has already scheduled in an activity for the period during which you want to shut down the system, right, and the activity is dependent on a live SAP system, you may have to postpone your system stop and give a high priority to the needs of the user. After that, you have to create a message. In SAP system, you can create a message. How you are going to create the message? You will create the message using the transaction SM02. Okay. So before stopping the SAP system, you need to escalate to all the users. So SM02, once you enter into this transaction code, it will provide like the information. Here you need to create the message. Now system will be shut down by today at so and so time, okay, say 5 p.m. due to some maintenance activity. Right, then you have to provide the server name, which server name you are going to stop, right? So this is the server name, client, you are giving a 000 from this client, okay, and you will give the date and when you want to read this message, okay, and once you enter the information, you need to save. So once you save, this message will appear on all the users who are working on the SAP servers, okay. So this is one way of escalating to all the users, okay. Whenever the user logged on, it will prompt with this message, okay. And the second point, before you stop the SAP system, make sure that no users are still logged on and active in the system. How do you want to know how many users are logging into the system? So see, this message will appear for all to every user like this, okay. So how you are going to see which of the users exist now. So there is a transaction. You can go with AL08 to check how many users are logged onto the machine. So as of now, it will show only one user reality since I have logged on. So in a company, you might get a lot of users. Okay, so all the users will be shown here, what transaction code they are using, okay, everything, every detail, and which client they are working. Okay, so you have to explain to those users. And the third important thing is that in SM37, okay, some jobs will be active or have been scheduled for the time during which the system stop is to take place. So you need to reschedule all the jobs or cancel the jobs that are due to either run or be started during the planned system stop. Okay, and the other important thing is that you need to check whether any active processes are still running or not. How are you going to check? You have to go to transaction SM50. Here you can see which active processes are running. Okay, so this will show you which active processors are running here. Okay, so likewise, these are the very important things you need to prepare before stopping the SAP system. Okay, so I will come out totally completely now. We stop the SAP system. This is the SID. I'm right clicking on that and I'm saying stop. So once I click on stop, it will prompt, do you want to stop all NSP instances? Means hard means immediately stop the system. Soft means it will give some time to stop the system. So we need to stop immediately. Once you click on OK, so start, stopping the systems. You can see this, there are no above work process. The system has been stopped completely. So this is the way you have to stop the SAP system. Now, this you have seen how to stop the SAP system. Similarly, now you will going to see how to start the SAP system. The same way you will be going to SAP MMC console and you will make a right click on the instance, SID, NSP, and you will click on start and say OK. So the system will start. Okay. Now see here, as I've explained, like there are message and dispatcher which makes the SAP system to start. So once you click on start, it will first connect to the database. Okay. Then it will start the other above work processes. If you see, there are other work processes. So unless until this no will become yes and new will become wait, you can't able to connect to SAP GUI. Okay, so you need to check that status should show yes and this status should show wait. If you refresh, because it may take some time to start an SAP instance, so patience is really an essential characteristic of a good system administrator. So you need to wait and remain calm. If it takes longer than expected time. So you see, this status has been changed to yes and start has become wait. Now you can connect to SAP through GUI. Got it? So this is how you have seen how to stop the SAP system and how to start the SAP system. Thank you so much. Bye.